This is the Recovery Lab.
Here we dive deep into the struggles, victories, and hope that stem from recovery.
No shame, no judgment, just truth, grace, and inspiration.
Let's walk this road together.
All right, welcome back to Recovery Lab. This is episode 104. Pumped to be here with some good friends. I'm David Sugg.
I'm Drew Hassin.
And we are here with some amazing people from an amazing club here in Jackson, Mississippi, the YANA Club. We got Emma McNeil and Verdon Jones. Y'all are two stalwart leaders of this YANA Club, and we want to hear more about it and talk about what we can do to all support it, what we can do to all to participate in what y'all got going on. But first, just tell us a little bit about who you are and what got you here today.
Well, I'm Emma. I got sober at the YANA Club. I am currently the president of the YANA Club, and luckily David has set this up for us.
Awesome. And Verdon, how about you?
I'm Verdon Jones. I've been sober for several decades now, and have been involved in on and off with YANA through the years. Most recently, well, let me back up. And back when I first got sober, I was at YANA all the time, and this is true of a lot of people, I think. And then as I got further into sobriety, I started branching out to other clubs. And one thing that took me away from YANA is I quit smoking. And when I was going there were a lot of people who were smoking.
Yeah.
And a reformed smoker doesn't like to be around smoke. And so I left, and then it was back in probably around 2009 or so that I came back to YANA and got involved, and have been pretty much involved ever since.
Cool.
I actually went to YANA because I could smoke there.
That's right. Yeah, Smokers Club.
I used to love it when I smoked. Everybody did.
How much have you been, Drew, in your history in and out of YANA? How many?
A lot.
Yeah. When was the first time you went?
Gosh, probably 1995.
It was a party then, dude.
It was. There would be, hundreds of people there.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, back in the day, Copac had lots of people, and there was a steady stream of, I think that I never went to Copac, but that druggy buggy that would roll up and it would have, or a couple of them have dozens of people, and then people from Baptist would come, and it really was a party. I asked them before the show started, what was the general consensus and population numbers of the meetings, and I mean, it still sounds like there are a lot of people there, but Friday night at YANA was bumping in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was, and it's, oh my God, the smoke. I smoked, and you would leave, and you would be disgusted with yourself. You would smoke, because literally every person in there smoked.
Yeah.
You could get your nicotine quota and not ever even light your own cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah, I touched down there probably in around 98. I got sober for a little while there, and it was just the mass of people that was in and out of there. I mean, the energy, that the smoke eaters popped up in the big room. That would be just people filling up ashtrays by the minute, man, and just but hanging out. There was a great vibe. People were getting sober. People were staying sober. People were carrying the message. The fellowship was easy to witness there. It was just always happening. But YANA stands for what? You Are Never Alone.
Yes.
It was placed there in the Fondren area. How long's it been there?
Over 50 years.
Over 50 years. It's
Our
been
charter
doing this.
was in 76.
Yeah.
76 something.
That's when we got our nonprofit status.
Yeah. And we've seen it go through a lot of different stages. I mean, then it was almost like a sober club where you've got a lot of treatment centers that are dropping people off all the time. And now it's going through some other changes. I mean, you've seen some developments happen in the Fondren area that are making it maybe there's more traffic coming in. Maybe y'all have had to develop more parking over the years. You've had to really make some capital improvements to host the same amount of people. But it's gone through a lot of changes, and you've shepherded through some of those changes, haven't you, Verdon?
Yes, we, back around 2014 or so, I was not involved in the leadership, of the board at that time, but we learned that there was going to be development behind the YANA Club where we had a parking lot that we were basically using pro bono, and we learned that it was about to go away. And so a group of us in 2015 got together and began trying to purchased the lot across the street. Josh Green was one of the instigators of this, and over the next year, we were able to raise over $100,000 to buy that lot. And then phase two was to build the actual parking lot, which was another $150,000. And we raised that within a year. My friend Lyle M was a very big instigator in that, and a leader in helping raise those funds. But it showed us that there is a lot of support in the community. You know, our clientele, the people who use YANA generally are not people of means, but there are a lot of people of means who have been through YANA in the central Mississippi area, and those are individuals that we want to reach out to help us keep YANA viable.
Yeah, Emma. Just as you, now that you're you're the president of the board that runs, it's going to be a two-year turn. You've been really digging deep into the numbers, and I think we've seen some of your good work that you've done, just kind of understanding what you've collected in payments over the past couple of years and what you're expected to collect. But you're recognizing that there probably ought to be a different way to raise revenue and gain awareness. What are you hoping to do in the next 2 years as far as like really being able to raise some funds? What are your options you're looking at?
So yeah, we've been in a steady decline since 2021. We never recovered after COVID. So I think the biggest thing that I'm interested in is having a more sustainable and long-term financial option.
I mean, I think Recovery Lab's almost in that. I mean, everybody, you almost get an option. You get to do good or you get to make money. You know, it's like if you do good, you got to have somebody fund you. Well, that's what we're doing. Is we want to destigmatize recovery and spread experience, strength, and hope. We want people to be able to say, "Hey, sobriety is a viable option." But it's just like either you're doing the 501c3 thing, or you're shaking the cup, or you're just like you're not doing it. And so, I mean, this is a problem that y'all aren't just having; that everybody who wants to make a big change is having. So I like the fact that y'all are trying to implement new strategies and you're coming up with things, whether it's merch on your website or the different levels of donors y'all have done. Tell us a little bit about a couple of those things.
So I just published the new website this morning, and it has on the Become a Member page, you can see all of the different levels of membership. It's so easy to do. You just click subscribe, and then it withdraws funds every single month. That's what I have. I don't have to think about it ever. I want to give the money, but it's just so easy to forget.
Yeah.
I think that that's one of our biggest problems. People care about YANA and love YANA, but then it's when you're not going there every day, you forget about it. We have the merchandise. I've been to a few different group conscience to ask them if they could, or I've been to one. That was a lie. I'm sorry. I've been to one. I'm planning to go to a few others to ask them to include us in their announcements, because many people want to help YANA. Just again, they forget.
Yeah, reducing friction. How do you make it happen? How do you make it easy to do, easy to give? Set up on a monthly membership, do it online. But like depending on snail mail, you know, like sending a check in, it's really hard to get the reminders and to get it in the mail. So kudos to you for bringing us up to 2025. Thank you very much.
I was born in 98, so I feel like I kind of...
It's on you.
Yeah, it's my responsibility.
Yeah, it's on you.
What are some of the goals that y'all have other than normalizing the revenue stream or enlarging the revenue stream? What are some of the things y'all are hoping to accomplish down there?
I would personally be able to just have a place that is reflective of what everyone thinks of YANA. We have an old building. We need repairs. When we don't have a regular income, we can't necessarily keep up with those repairs. Just having a better community. The place is so important. And I think when things are nice and easy, it invites a lot more people to come and stay. So I would really just like to make it more of a community, because there's absolutely still a community present, but I would just like to grow that community because YANA can help so many people. And if we don't grow that community, then the only thing we're doing is a disservice to everyone who is suffering.
Y'all had talked about some collaborations earlier. Y'all have anything cooking in the books? Y'all have any plans, or are there any events slated to happen? Anything hopefully to draw attention and show the need?
So we have our annual membership meeting in April. It's on the 17th at 6:30. You do have to be an inactively paying member, but as I was saying a little bit earlier, it's really easy to do that by going on our website. And there I want to just discuss with the members what we need from them. The next thing that I have in mind is a YANA cleanup day I would like to do in May. Yeah. And that's just where everyone and anyone can come and help us clean it up. Whether that's painting a little bit or really mopping, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anything to make it look nicer and also just bring everyone together. Verdon has been amazing for me. He's led me through this entire thing, and I don't want to put anything that I do on him, but he just has made this whole thing make sense to me. We are going to be meeting with a few people about potential solutions to long-term sustainability, but that's not answering your question at all. I spoke with the head of Intergroup last night for a while, and we discussed a few things that we could do together because we're both struggling. Everyone is struggling. As David was saying earlier, it's just hard. It's hard to get people to remember. And we have both been in the same place where we're run completely down, and then we beg, we're like, please give us money. We need help. We're in a rut. But it's hard to get totally out of that rut because, you need money to get out of that rut. And then you need money to stay out of that rut. But then when you're pulling from the same pool of people, it's really hard to keep getting that support. So I really want to be more transparent about how we're spending our money because I think that that's extremely important in the confidence of everyone who does donate.
I think one of the really important things is to establish strong leadership on the board at YANA. There may be some structural things that need to be done in order to ensure more continuity on the board. We tried to do some of that back in 2019 to 21 when I was president of the board. We changed the bylaws, and so we allow people to serve additional years if they want to and if they're agreeable to doing it. And the other piece of that is to get people who have business backgrounds, people who understand how to run an organization. In the past, it's been kind of a service issue for people who get on the board and get active, and many times they didn't have really much experience. They were very willing, but didn't have a lot of background. And if you want to raise money and develop and grow this organization, not so much grow what it's doing, but stabilize it probably is a better word, then people will be happy to donate if they know their money is going to be used to good purpose. If you have a plan, that you're presenting to them, and then you have board members who are capable of carrying through that plan, and then they can see their money actually helping YANA. I think we can make it much stronger. I'll share this with you. I already mentioned that, when we built the parking lot, I was amazed that when we announced we wanted to buy that lot, we had the money in about 4 or 5 months, if that long. And then we started working on the next phase, which was the building the lot itself. And that took less than a year. I mean, the money's out there.
Right.
We got in trouble during the pandemic. At one point, the YANA Club was really on the ropes. And I just sent out a letter to some of the donors who had given us money for the parking lot. And we raised enough money to carry us through very, very well during that period. And we were also right prior to the pandemic, we're able to build a new staircase for the second floor. Some people say that'll last longer than the building does.
Solid.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
Speaking, when David reminded me of the YANA of old yesteryear,
Yeah.
Do treatment centers bring people on the regular? Because it seems like that would be a nice way to market to new customers. If you get them fresh, fresh in treatment, then you're like, hey, look, the normal thing to do is get out and get sober and do your 90 and 90 at YANA and donate $5 a month or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The problem with that is only that a lot of the time people in treatment centers don't have the funds to pay the membership. And then when they get sober, they start going to different meetings. And that's kind of where the forgotten part comes in. And we love our...
Get them on that Patreon while they're vulnerable.
Are you willing to go to any length?
Yeah.
Are you willing? Like, seriously. Yeah.
Let's test your resolve.
Oh, me.
There is an interesting component though. Like in the 12-step world, it's attraction rather than promotion. We're self-supporting through our own contributions. We don't do a lot of. We're not going out on Facebook and say, "Hey, I'm live at a meeting." We're not doing that stuff. But YANA's a different type of organization. So how are you kind of bridging the difference between? No, we're an organization that needs public support. We've got to get out there and let people know that we exist. But you're catering to a 12-step environment that's not doing that. In fact, it's against their traditions to really go out and shake the cup and wave the flag. They're not going to do that stuff. So are you finding ways to kind of stay true to the 12-step organization yet still get out in the public eye? Or what's the conflict resolution there?
That's a really great question.
Okay.
Burden might have a better idea than I do. I think for me, one of the things that I've personally done and has kind of opened my eyes to it is my dad. He's Al-Anon. My dad loves YANA basically just as much as most people that have gotten sober. So he cares about it because it gave me my life back. And so he's willing to give. And I don't necessarily have to publicize to him, obviously. But Burden, please go.
Well, one of the things, of course, I think it's the 11th tradition. Well, not the 11th. I think maybe it's the 6th tradition. I was looking at that earlier that talks about that AA should not be affiliated with any outside enterprises or that type of thing. And YANA walks a fine line there because almost probably half of YANA's rent or income is coming from two groups that are paying rent there. And those groups are represented on the board. And that's kind of gray area as far as that tradition goes. And I think it would be much cleaner. I don't know how if we could sell this to the YANA community, but I think it would be much cleaner to have board members who came from outside of the recovery area to some degree or from outside of the YANA organization, and where we could develop leadership from the central part of the state. I think we have to expand our thinking in terms of who do we want to appeal to. It's not just the recovery community. It's anybody interested in trying to help people, really, And, another thing I was thinking about driving over this morning is that with the current political situation, with all the cutbacks in federal government, there are a tremendous amount of cutbacks in recovery programs as well that are getting ready to happen. And the private community is going to have to step up if we're going to maintain the kind of services that are needed.
Yeah.
So, I see this as a real opportunity, in terms of redefining what YANA's doing and trying to expand its reach in terms of interest in the club. One other thing that I think, can be addressed as we get through this short term and into more proactive planning is to have YANA begin to provide something for the membership. Because right now, you don't get anything if you're a member other than you have the right to go, but you don't have to be a member to go. So what would be good is if we could develop things that came along with the membership. And those are all things that I think can be done, but it's going to take some planning. It's going to take some time to get that kind of stuff implemented.
What sort of things might you imagine?
Well, I had a couple of guys came up to me when I was president, and with the idea they wanted to create a meditation garden in the back and behind.
I'll build it.
YANA
I'd like
Club.
to do that. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And that would see when people could go out and socialize, and possibly get a television set, get some get stuff in there.
Coffee shop.
Make it. Yeah. You
Oh
could
my
actually,
gosh, that would make so much money.
Set up a coffee. I'm not sure what nonprofits can do
That
in
just
terms
blew
of,
my mind.
but this is the kind of creative thinking that we need to get into to augment this income stream.
Yeah.
Because right now it's not, the income stream that we have in place is not adequate to sustain the club. It's got to be supplemented.
That's a sobering statement. If you're here to get sober, that'll do
Yeah.
it right there. It's just not enough. What's
Yes.
coming in is not enough. You got to do
That's
something
right.
different.
That's exactly right.
Talk about who are some of your stakeholders? The newcomer that's coming in the door versus the guy who's been sober 10 years who now lives in Nashville or Texas, who got sober but would like to support YANA. You've got a vast different stakeholders. You've got people who might want to donate money, but people who are using services. The people who are using the services aren't even always aware of the difference between the Northeast group and YANA. They don't know. They're just going to YANA.
Yeah.
So, what do you envision of what might an org chart of your stakeholders look like? Is it churches? Is it out of area people who have benefited from the program? Have y'all put any kind of thought into what the stakeholder might look like? A group of those.
Other than what you said, it could also be the Fondren area because a lot of people come to YANA and then we'll go to dinner after or before in the coffee shops. So many people go grab a coffee at Cups before they come to YANA or any of the other coffee shops in the area.
It's kind of a difficult problem because we're dealing with anonymous people,
right? And
we don't have the greatest list. I think that's something we really need to work on is a contributor list. Now we had some when we did the parking lot, and I've passed those on to Emma, and but those lists need to be developed and probably would be beneficial to sign people up. Just go to the groups and say, we'd like anyone who's interested in supporting YANA, add your name to this list. But we got to give them a reason to do it. And right now, I think the attitude seems to be, they got two groups down there. They control the building, and so why do we need to help them? We got to help ourselves and this type of thing. And what I'm hoping is that we can get YANA to be viewed as a regional resource, not as a inner city resource, and that it's serving the inner city people, but these are people who are going to be in the other groups later and going to be part of the community. So I don't know if that made sense, but
it does.
It's more about getting greater buy-in to what YANA's doing.
It truly is one of the first phases of recovery for many, many people in Jackson. I have yet to meet someone and ask them if they know what YANA is and them say no. Mm-hmm. It's so crucial to so many people, not only the treatment centers around us who send people to meetings there, but also if you Google, YANA was the first meeting that I ever went to, and I knew nothing about AA or recovery. My parents, I'm the first person in our family to be an alcoholic, but yet I still wound up at YANA. So I feel like that's just a perfect example of how so many people first go to YANA. And the point is that they recover, but they go to YANA first.
Yeah.
So we need to keep YANA there to be that first phase of recovery.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. And I think you're right. I mean, most people around here, all people around here have been there. maybe a little, maybe a lot, but everyone has a story in their recovery autobiography that includes a chapter of YANA.
Have y'all got like a clear call to action for people? I mean, we're going to get viewers on this show today that's going to be out there forever. You know, it's going to be on iTunes and Spotify. This episode, way to go. It's going to be out there. So what if somebody hears this in 2 years? You know, what's a permanent place that exists? Is it to go to the website? Is it to send an email? Like, you want to tell us how if somebody hears this, it's like, oh, wow, I want to give. How do they do that?
So I have just updated the website, and I've tried to include everything you could think of. I have obviously missed things, and it will need a lot of tweaking. So please be kind, but feel free to send me an email. It's under the contact page on our website. You can send our main email, yanaclubms@gmail.
Okay.
Comments, I've responded to at least a dozen now, just from various random questions. And I want it to just be as easy to access as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so any way that I can make that happen, I'm willing to at least do what I can to try. Because I look at it and I think it makes sense, but it might not necessarily make sense to everyone. But I think that the website is just a really good place because it has the location on there. If you don't know, then you can just
and the
drive
meeting
there.
schedule.
The meeting schedule.
So on the website, you can become a member at a different levels of membership. You could go like the base for $10 a month, all the way up to there's $500 a month if you feel so inclined. Is there a one-time donor button on there if you just wanted to hit? Okay, so you can give a one-time donation. Is there a comment suggestion box or anything? I mean, Rachel and I, we run a couple different businesses, and the most important thing about our business is talking to our customers. What do y'all need? What do y'all like? What do y'all dislike? How can we make is there a spot there that y'all are getting feedback from your customers?
I thought about adding one to the contact page, but due to time, I haven't yet. But I will put that on my to-do list because I think that's a great idea.
That's a great
It's so
idea.
much easier to type in a thing and click submit than it is to actually send an email. I think for 30 minutes before I send any email, whereas I'd probably just submit it immediately if I were typing it out. So that's a great idea. Thank you.
So the website's out there. That's what you want them to do. Is go to the website, become a member there, find a way to donate.
It also has our mailing address on there if you would like to use snail mail. We have a different mailing address than our street address.
Yeah.
So all of that's under the donate page. I really hope. It has that, our PayPal account, and our subscribe.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like y'all really have some energy driving this train. You know, because there are things out there, services you can sign up for that help with top of mind awareness and marketing ideas. You know, text reminders, and you know, it's just getting people in there to submit their information, their cell phone number, and their email address. I've tried setting up that what is it, MailChimp for email newsletters and stuff.
Yeah.
And it just takes somebody willing to put in the elbow grease, the binary elbow grease, getting it up and going to send out a monthly newsletter to people.
Well, and there's also I was just sitting here thinking there are conventions that are held every year, old timers convention, for example, where it would make sense for YANA to have a table there and actually, you know, educate everybody on what we're doing, solicit membership and donations, get a list. I mean, the stuff we can do, we just got to have the continuity and I think what's been lacking in the past is just a forward plan. You know, we've always been so reactive, just trying to stay afloat, that we haven't been able to look forward and say, well, how can we proactively get this thing going on a better basis?
Yeah.
And I think we really can.
Do you have an updated schedule, like upcoming events that are on the website that's easily accessible? Like there's like some sort of event at a park or something that's updated each month to let people kind of, that could eventually be the go-to place for, what's going on in the Jackson recovery community. Something like that. Does something like that exist yet?
No, so I thought about putting an events page on the website, but I wasn't sure what I would put yet, and so I just haven't. But I think that that's absolutely necessary. I mean, even if it's just,
And you could coordinate with Paxton also to get everything
Yes. Yeah, so I spoke with Paxton last night about a few things and possibilities just because our common interest of, helping the next alcoholic.
How's Central doing? Speaking of Paxton, I mean, they're going through some sea changes, aren't they? I mean, what's going on there?
Yeah, he didn't get into very explicit details, but he basically told me that it's rough. They're in about the same place as us and need the similar help. And I think that we must combine efforts because we're a community. We should be supporting all resources because one resource cannot do it all.
Yeah, and if YANA were aligned, if those two organizations were aligned and working together, it would be a much easier sell for YANA because the intergroup already has a regional, base, and they may have the list and the names. Who knows what they've got? But I think there's real potential there if those two organizations could figure out a way to work closely together. Not necessarily merge completely, but partner.
Yeah. I'm glad y'all brought that up because I think that's a fantastic idea. Yeah. I think that is a great idea. Like, it seems so obvious that would be the thing to do because YANA is such a central player in things, and so is
Central Group.
The
central office, yeah. So
I would like to say that we haven't talked to Paxton about this yet, so don't put this
put you
on him.
Notice, Paxton. This is it, dude.
Hopefully Paxton will watch this program.
Hopefully he'll just agree, but I'm sure he would.
Well, it's not as bad as like finding out you got fired on Twitter or something.
I think anything to help. That's really just where we're coming from because the community was there for us when we needed it, and the way to keep it going and for each of us to keep thriving is to give it back.
Yeah,
and that's what we just have to focus on.
Well, there's something beautiful, and there's something the 12th step-ish about planting this metaphorical oak tree that you're not going to enjoy the shade of, and helping people in the next generation have a place and making it sustainable. What do you think the odds are of being able to draw in some leaders from maybe outside of the recovery community just to benefit from their business acumen?
I think there are really good odds of that. I think there are people in the recovery community who have wonderful business acumen, and then outside, I think, I'm sure they're there, and because other boards are able to get them, and so I think that's a big piece of the puzzle is getting that leadership and.
Well, in the hopes that Jim Barksdale's listening to this, he'd be a good addition to the YANA Club board.
We are meeting with my dad. Verdon and I are meeting with my dad and another member who are very business savvy. I think I would describe them to discuss a long-term outcome or a long-term plan. But I think, yes, absolutely. I'm a statistician, so I don't really want to throw out whether or not I agree with odds before I look at the numbers. But my intuition is that it wouldn't be difficult because so many people are affected by alcoholism or addiction, whether or not they themselves are the addict.
I had an experience last summer. A friend of ours out in California involved in recovery, invited us to go to a club out there called the Canyon Club. And this club was amazing. I mean, it was a mansion that somebody had donated to whatever the 501c3 is that has it. When you walk in the door, there was a cafe there where you could get a hamburger, coffee, or whatever else. They had this huge meeting room. They had beautiful grounds. I mean, it's you go down to Destin, see the Camel Club down there. Some of you all have been down there, and and Emma, to her credit, has been trying to contact these people and get a feel for how did y'all do that.
And contacted about 6 clubs.
Yeah, so we're trying not to have to reinvent the wheel, but hopefully. get some good ideas about how to proceed with this thing and be
That's
successful.
a great idea. That was a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there are clubs out there, and some of them really are kind of amazing, aren't they? To see.
I tried to model the new website off of a few of theirs because they looked really nice
Yeah,
and
you
pretty.
did.
And I was like, I don't know anything about design. I'm not an aesthetic person at all. So
Yeah.
I might as well take their direction.
Well,
Well,
go ahead.
well, we're nearing towards having to wrap it up owing to some scheduling limitations we have today. Give us 2 things that people need to do right now.
Give us money
Via the website.
via the website.
What's that website again?
YANAClubMS.com.
Well,
If
I
you
didn't,
just-
I didn't get that. Say it again.
YANAClubMS.com.
All
If
right.
you Google YANA Club, Jackson, Mississippi, it's the first thing that pops up.
Give a little, give a lot.
Yeah, I mean, one of the greatest return on investment is an investment of goodwill, doing something for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And that's, you were asking, you're mentioning, we got to give people something for their membership and their participation. And I don't think we can underestimate that feel good feeling.
Yeah.
That thing that we get when we know we're donating, we know we're giving something, either time or effort, energy or money,
Yeah.
to a cause that matters. It's not just going someplace. It's like, oh, it's
Exactly right.
But if you live in Jackson or you've been around and you've seen it, A, you know it exists and it matters, and B, you're going to get to see it continue to go on. It's not just some thing you saw on the news.
Yeah.
It's a real deal. So that feel good feeling, I think, is something we can give back. You know,
Yeah.
you know you're helping.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's why I am try to be as involved as I possibly can.
and you are. Yeah,
I try to be. I could be more, you know. That's probably a conversation for my sponsor, but
We kind of handpicked Emma. She doesn't really know it, but
you handpick them all, Bird. And there's always
no,
this
no,
invisible
but-
hand.
but the energy and the intelligence and just the the enthusiasm is contagious, and I think she's gonna be very successful. I really do.
I do
told
too.
Burden that he would have to hold my hand the entire way before I actually accepted the nomination, and he has stuck to his word. Here he is.
Here I am.
So how about another call to action for anybody you talk about? If you want to donate, please do that at the YANA website. But also, if you've got any business savvy, acumen, you Jeff Goods, you Robert St. John's, you restauratpreneurs of the world that have done the whole deal. You've circled the globe with your success. If you want to give back, YANA's looking for some advice, some shepherding, some tutelage, some mentorship. We need it. We know y'all been there. We love what y'all done for us in the past, but any guys who have got any kind of different, besides money, because once more
and you
skills are
could donate
so-
in kind. Y'all could
Yeah.
create one of those Amazon gift lists, and hey, if you want to donate paper towels and toilet paper and
Yeah.
Yeah.
cleaning supplies, mop heads, coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just see what we're not seeing. If they see something, it's like, hey, just this little tweak right here
Yeah.
will make a big difference.
Because
We
it's
would
hard to
really-
know where you want to invest not only your capital but your resources, so that you do increase the likelihood of a favorable outcome.
And one of the things, that I mentioned to Emma early on is that, this is really at least a 2-step process. First, we got to survive the short term. I mean, we've got to get the money in to begin cash flowing this thing better. And we got to do that pretty quickly. And then the second phase will be to start implementing some of these strategic plans about where we're going to take it in terms of providing more services, combining things, and getting, doing other stuff. So, but it's all doable. It's all doable, and it's just going to require some effort and some people, combining together to make something good happen.
Well, fortunately and unfortunately, society is making new drug addicts and alcoholics every day.
Every day.
Get
Your
new
mama's
ones
not going
all the
anywhere.
time.
That's right.
Big market. That's
Big
exactly
market.
right.
I do want to mention that we are a 501c3, so all donations are tax deductible. You don't need a receipt for donations under $250, and cash donations can be very difficult to track, but website donations and PayPal donations are very easy to
I
track.
gave $1,200 donations last year.
Nice.
No.
I was
No
like-
receipts necessary.
I was like, where was your name? I wrote those letters.
Well, we know that we're getting this message out. You know, that Daniel and Drew have been doing this for over 2 years. Recovery Lab, just getting this recovery network, these different players in the same field. You know, getting their stories out. So we're super glad y'all came and shared with us today about what y'all are doing and what y'all need done. We look forward to seeing more of y'all's great work. Y'all come back on sometime and let us know how it's going and what else we can do. Because the most important thing, like you said, is long term. You know, there's something we can do for each day to kind of make it better, but also just being okay with the process and letting it germinate. Maybe we're planting trees that we're never going to enjoy the shade of, but we're still going to do the work.
Yeah.
So y'all come back on, keep letting us know what we can do to help y'all.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all so much.
for having
And
us.
David, thank you so much for setting this up. This is something that I hadn't even thought of but it's literally the perfect thing because we need to do this. We need to reach more people. And so thank all
Great
of
way.
you for letting this happen.
Well, we appreciate y'all taking the time.
Thank you, Drew.
It's really easy.